Hey guys, Coach Lou here, ready to talk to you today about setting up your motivation anchors. If you've been following along with this series on our Monday Motivation blog, or if you're on one of our courses, think about this. We've learned about motivation and how it drives us and how we can harness the power of it. So let's just review for a second before we get into today's training. Motivation is truly about harnessing the power of why. The power of why, and we use the big letter Y with quotes, but it's really the word why. Why you are doing it, what drives you, what is really important. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you want it? That power of why gives you that purpose to step up. So that's kind of your Motivation 101 where we started. And if you guys have not done the previous trainings, please stop now and go back to the previous trainings because they all build up to today. And today is how we stick it into action, really take it into action. But to have that basis is important. So in Motivation 101, we also found out how motivation affects all aspects of our life, our health, our wealth, our relationships, our businesses, our careers, our families, our everything we're all about, the joy of growth and contribution. And these are all returns on the level of motivation you put into it, I think is where I'm going with this. I had a hard time thinking of the word there. What does it give you back? Well, it's the return on your investment. You invest in that motivation, your return is especially greater opportunity for growth and contribution, and also greater relationships, health, wealth, everything all the way around your career, your business, if you're a business person, all will stem off of how you show up. Does it mean that every day you just show up motivated and everything's okay and it goes smooth? Oh, hell no. We're going to hit bumps, bruises, resistance. We talked about the closer you are to your goal, the more the pushback gets. We talked about motivation is really a state. It's an emotion of being, not a thing. Motivation is not, well, if this happens, I'll get motivated, or rah, rah, rah. What I'm going to teach you to do is how to fire that raw portion of it today. But the key to it is getting that motivation in at that gut and that spiritual level and knowing it here, believing it here, and taking action out there. Make sense? Okay, then we went into how pain and pleasure drive us. That drives all our motivation. If we're not motivated and we're not taking action on something, somebody, our creator, whoever, is going to send us a little bump of painful motivation generally. Sometimes we create our own painful motivation. We get to that point in something we've said, I've had enough, I can't take it anymore. There it is. There's your pain motivation. Or you go, hey, I really want to go on this vacation, and my boss told me if I just increase by this much, they're going to send me to XYZ. I used Costa Rica in our previous example, but maybe that's not where you want to go. Fill in the blanks. But think about it. Think about that stuff that excites you and pulls you towards it is the pleasure motivation, and that stuff that comes up and punches you from behind and shoves you forward because it's a pain in the ass. Well, there you go. That's a pain motivation. So we just wanted to remember pain is push, pleasure is pull, and then knowing and getting back to all those basics, we are going to jump right back in to today's training. Now that we just get a little quick recap there. So what we're doing is we're setting a motivation anchor today, setting something in that can automatically fire off that positive motivation. So what is an anchor exactly? Well, you could say, hey, it's a boat anchor. It holds you down. It keeps you in one place. It doesn't let you go. It's heavy. And that could be a description of a boat anchor. And this gets scary because you don't want to hold yourself down. You want to grow. You want to go forward. That's what this whole series is about, right? Well, let me tell you for the vernacular of what we're doing, what an anchor is. An anchor is simply a very, very strong association to a particular movement, touch, sound, sight that triggers a certain emotion. Now, all anchors don't motivate. We have some negative anchors, which we'll talk about. We have some positive anchors. We have those we're unaware of. We have those we're very aware of because we create them. And then we have those that we're very aware of that we didn't create. And those can be the most dangerous because you know they're there and you know they got to go sometimes. So we're going to go into a little bit of anatomy of anchors here. Then we're going to get right in on how to set your own anchor for motivation. Are you with me on this? You ready? I'm serious. This is life changing right here. And I know you're going, okay, everything's life changing we do, coach. Yes, it is, but this is extremely life changing. So, first off, I want to quickly explain to you the difference between a positive and a negative anchor. A positive anchor is one that makes you feel good. Do you think you remember being a kid? Did you have a favorite grandparent, aunt, uncle, especially one who cooked and cooked something delicious or something that smelled great? Or you went to their house and it always smelled really great. No, not Uncle Sam's or Uncle Joe's who might have smelled like smoke. Let's talk about grandma. Here, she baked fresh baked cookies or your favorite hamburger, whatever it was absolutely mouth-watering delicious. You walked in that house and you knew what was cooking. Now, if you smell that smell today, and maybe you're in the same boat with a lot of us, where Grams, Grandpa, somebody they're gone, or they don't cook that anymore. Or you're not there with them, or they've passed on. But you walk in somewhere and you smell the same smell, and you go, oh my God, or you hear a song that your parents used to listen to, and for some reason it just made you feel completely bonded to them. This is anchoring, folks. That is a heavy emotional state. Strong. I shouldn't say heavy, because heavy implicates negative. A strong emotional state triggered by something around you, or by somebody else that you have associated so deeply that it triggers very strong emotions, whether they're positive or negative. Let's go to a negative association, negative anchor. We've all probably lost a loved one or a dear friend and been at a funeral, and people keep doing the same thing. They might come up and grab you on the shoulder and, hey, so sorry. Hey, I'm so sorry. And yeah, it's good meaning. Hey, I'm so sorry. Somebody's trying to show love. And even a loving look might get anchored into this. My heart is freaking broken. I've lost somebody who absolutely means the world to me. And this gentle touch, okay, don't think another thing about it. Time goes on. You're over the initial grief, you've gone through the grieving process. You still miss that person, but it's not that, oh my God, today's the funeral. Grief. We all been there, right? That can be pretty darn overwhelming, and I'm not minimizing that feeling by any means. So you're tooling along, and somebody comes up and goes, "Great job today," and you burst into tears, or your gut feels like somebody just reached in and wrenched your heart, and you're going, "They just told me I did a good job, but I want to go in the bathroom and cry." If you're a guy, you probably ran to the bathroom. If you're a girl, you might have burst out right there. And that's not being sexist, but you know how guys are. We tend to be a little more, let me go deal with this by myself. Okay, so that's a negative anchor that got installed unconsciously. So here we go. I'm going to go into intentional and unintentional anchors. Intentional is you anchor yourself for something. Maybe you're nervous about getting up in front of a group, and you go, okay, I'm going to set an anchor. If I squeeze my hand, I feel a little more confident. So every time I'm going to get up and talk, I'm going to squeeze my hand. I'm going to feel good. And you anchor it in that, that's your safety zone. All of a sudden you're safe. And I can do this. Might not be the strongest, best anchor, but that's an intentional. You've said, I'm going to do this. Or, before I lose my temper, I'm going to, rub my finger and my thumb together with the kids, or I'm going to count to 10. There's an anchor. See, that's a psychological anchor. I'm going to count to 10 so I don't spank that little brat. I don't advocate spanking, but you know what I'm talking about here. This is the way these anchors get set up. So that's conscious, unconscious, going back. What if when you were a kid you had a family member that when you did something good, they'd go, "Hey, good job, kid. Good job, kid. Good job, kid." And one day you're washing your hair and you go, "God, I feel like I'm doing great. I feel like I'm doing great. Great." It's an anchor. Pretty simple, right, guys? I mean, you might be saying, "Lou, come on, this makes a whole lot of sense." Yeah? It does. And when we put it down and break it down so simple, we go, okay, great. So let's take that to a different level. You're in a relationship and you're having some issues at work and you're coming home really tired and you're just ready to pop, but you can't say anything at work. You don't want to lose your job. You come home. First thing your spouse asks you to do something, you're like, for Christ's sakes, all I got to do is, you always want me to do something, but they're going, all right, yeah, you're in a mood, whatever, and they get a little short with you, and then the rest of the night's tense, and you do that for a few weeks. Next thing you know, you're coming through the door and you're ready to argue. You're ready for it. You've anchored it in the coming home as a negative. So that's the way a negative anchor can be formed that can be very unhealthy through no fault of either party. It's just allowing that anchor to get formed in there, if that makes sense. So once you're aware of it, you can break that pattern, break out of that anchor and anchor something new where you could go, you know what, before I go in the door, so that I'm not an ass to my spouse, I'm going to look in the mirror and go, ee, ee, ee. Silly, right? Looks silly, but guess what? Even I now, I'm kind of like, okay, who could argue with somebody in that mode? Whatever your anchor is, this is what we're going to teach you to set today. Now, I did say setting motivational anchors. So this is, kind of what we're after, right? The motivational anchor. But would it be useful to have this pattern and this training on anything you need to anchor in life? So it's not just motivation. For the purpose of our series right now, we're really anchoring in everything to do based around motivation currently. But would it be useful to be able to set these anchors in all aspects of life? Just saying, would it be useful? Let me give you some tools then. First of all, we're going to talk about the components of an anchor. First thing is you can't be, okay, I'm ready to anchor something. Now, if you're ready to anchor relaxation, okay, I'm ready to anchor this centered feeling. Yes, that will work. If you're ready to be motivated, okay, I'm ready to go in and tear this meeting up. Yes. Yeah, no, that ain't going to work. So get in that peak state. And the way you get in a peak state is remembering something when you were in a state where you were unstoppable, especially for this motivation example we're using. Unstoppable, unstoppable. Get back there, think about it, use your focus on that, use your body. You can focus and go, I'm motivated, I'm motivated, I'm motivated. Or you can go, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Whatever it is, whatever really gets you going. You might have to do jumping jacks and burpees and push-ups. You might be able to do it a simple snapping your fingers. Okay, this is something that's very individualized because you're going to need to use it in the context of where and what you're doing. So the other thing is it's got to be unique activity. Sometimes people like to go, all right, I'm going to anchor in snapping my fingers. But if you're a type of person that snaps your fingers all day long to some music, that might be a positive anchor, but I want to be motivated, and you go, bam! Oh, I got nothing to be motivated for. Right now, I'm trying to go to bed, and I'm just kind of snapping to some music that might fire off the wrong thing. It might be the right anchor for you, because it might be something you can be in a meeting, go, okay, it's my turn to speak. Pow, I'm on. Ready to go. Okay, so those are your two sides. You got to be in the peak state, and it's got to be a unique anchor. If you always tap your shoulder on the left side and you always do that and it has no effect, don't anchor there. If that's an unusual one for you, you might anchor yourself in and pow, and that's your fire point right there to anchor off. Awesome. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to really look at this and go, how do we fire off these anchors? How are they unique? Remember, unique and peak state. You got to be in peak state, whatever that peak state. Now, if it's a relaxation anchor, that peak state might be very zenned out. Okay, so you're with me on this, but right now, for the sake of motivation, peak energy state, ready to go. I think you're probably picking up on a few of my anchors right here and now because you can see what happens. Just watch the facial. Always watch the facial expressions on people and watch the physiology when you can see if they're breaking through something or if they're energizing or if it's just kind of like, okay. That I can't just okay when I hit my chest. It lights a fire. Sometimes I knock the wind out of myself if I'm really excited. So setting up an anchor. Here we go. You got your triad. Boom. Your triangle, okay? You've got your physical, your psychological, and your emotional, spiritual. If you can get them all in a peak state. Physical, you don't want to be sitting around going, okay, I'm really going to get in a state here. You want to get energized. Even if you're sitting, sit up. Take a few good breaths, get ready, feel unstoppable. Picture something you've done when you felt unstoppable and feel unstoppable. Get that feeling. Work it up, work it up, work it up, work it up. You ready with me? Work it up, work it up. Picture it, feel it, get in the energy, and pow! Set an anchor. Whether it's slamming your chest, snapping your finger, pulling your ear, twitching your nose, whatever it is, but do it with all the energy right at the peak. As you get the most energy, when you feel I can't get any emotionally higher, physically higher, spiritually higher on that feeling, bam, lock it in. There you go. You have it. Now, what you got to do once you do this, and the audio that accompanies this is going to really take you through this, guys. So this is a brief version of it. So you might be going, oh, I can't keep up. I'm trying to get. Don't worry about it. I'm giving you the tools here, the audio. We're going to work right through it. I'm going to talk you through it. Are we on board with that? So on your peak, now, drop it down, shake it all out. All right, let's see if the anchor works. Let's see. I want to be motivated. Yes! Oh, yeah. What a feeling. See, if you went yes, and you go, okay, I feel a little bit better. Yeah, you haven't conditioned that anchor in again. So test it, intensify it if you need to. Go back through the steps as many times as you need. The audio is yours to use. Come back and visit on the site. Please don't take it and put it elsewhere. Send people to the site to do that, because that's what we're trying to do, is create awareness for what we're doing. So don't snatch our audio, please. But you can use it all you want. You can come back to this all you want, because it is for you. The last portion of this is to stack it for 7 days. Practice it, rehearse it, practice it, bam! Rehearse it, test it, make it a little stronger each day for 7 days, and then see the difference in intensity that you have there with your anchor. Now, listen to the audio to guide yourself through this, and also make sure that you practice this. Get up each day. Get in a motivated state. Hit your motivation anchor right first thing in the morning. I don't care if you got one eye open and you can't seem to push the button on the coffee pot for 5 or 10 minutes. You keep trying, but you keep missing, and you're stumbling around and walking into walls. I know it sounds funny, but some people get up really early, like 4 a.m. And sometimes we bump into a wall or two or knock something over. You know, it might be a little foggy at that hour. We're all human, but guess what? You set off that motivation. All of a sudden, your body engages, your mind engages, your soul engages all together. That little triad comes together, gets everything rolling, and your motivation is already set for the day. Anytime you're going to need it, you've got your anchors. You've got that ability to turn it on. Not every time I get on camera, especially Monday Morning Live, am I exactly totally awake and energized as much as I initially appear, but I turn that on. Does that mean it's fake and I go, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it, I'm going to fake it? No. That is firing off physiology, psychology, and spirit all at once to literally light it up and turn on the emotion to its maximum. I can turn on the emotion. I'm excited about reaching out to you. I'm excited about teaching you. I'm excited that you're spending the time to go through this stuff with me. But we need to have that ability to really fire off the emotion that powers what we want to do. Now, you know, people say, well, I don't want to be a motivational speaker or a teacher or a coach, you know. I'm just XYZ. Why not be the best you can be? You know, some people are like, I'm just a housewife or a mom. Well, that's important stuff. You know, do you want to be motivated to really raise awesome kids and really be the best parent you can be? Or are you just kind of coasting through it? You know, you might just work for an entry-level job, but you don't want to stay there forever. Motivation is going to carry you out of the entry level position into the next levels, or opening a business. If you're not motivated, please don't open a business. You're going to crash flat on your face. I don't care how good you are at your skill. If you don't have that power of why and that fortitude and that emotional endurance that we've talked about before to pull you through the times that don't automatically excite you. Some mornings you get up and you're this far underwater already in what you got to do in your business, and you're behind, and oh my God, and you're going, really? This was supposed to be a money-making machine. What do you mean I got to pay payroll, this, that, the other, and oh, there's nothing left to pay myself this week. Oh, rent on the locations, this, that, and the other. And I know some people are sitting there going, yeah, my whole business is in a tablet. That's great, very smart. But again, are you going to deliver the best you can? Are you ever going to be the best you can without motivation? Are you ever going to be able to talk yourself into being motivated by itself? No. Are you going to automatically be motivated by itself? Not totally, not to the level you could be. You know, a lot of people are really excited about what they're doing. They love it. You know, they're like, I don't need any motivation. I don't need to set any anchors. Yes, you do, because there is going to be that day you wake up. I don't care how healthy you are. You know, we're healthy. Rarely get sick here. Once in a while we do. And holy crap, what if I get sick on a Monday morning and I'm supposed to deliver a very important live to you? I could coast through it and tell you, I'm sick, guys, bear with me. And I may tell you that. I might be. I feel like dog stuff. Could happen. But if I have an anchor to trigger that motivation, there's a good chance you may not know that I only slept 3 hours because something happened the night before that needed to be dealt with. Or, you know, maybe I'm not feeling well, or maybe, you know, somebody made me mad on the way in, or whatever the case is. To be able to fire off a strong anchor, and no matter what it is invaluable. If there's something and nothing else I ever teach you but how to anchor and use those anchors in a positive way, if this is all you ever take out of this, this is a huge win in shaping how far your destiny is going to go one direction or another. Trust me on this. You need it. Make sure you listen to the audio. Use it anytime you need to. I encourage you to live with passion, energy, on the audio. Have an awesome